Marley Station Mall in Glen Burnie, Maryland, opened its doors in 1987 with high hopes, but it's been fighting an uphill battle ever since. Before construction even began, the project was already off to a rocky start. Taubman Centers, the mall's developers, had trouble securing frontage along Route 2, clashing with a hot dog stand and a homeowner who refused to sell. They eventually worked out a deal with the hot dog stand, but the house remained, partially blocking the mall's visibility from the busy highway. But the biggest misstep may have been strategic. Glen Burnie has always been a working-class town, but the mall's original anchors, Hecht's and Macy's, were stores that didn't really reflect the needs or income of the surrounding area. When the doors finally opened, only about 80% of the space was leased, and that would turn out to be the peak occupancy rate. The late 80s, early 90s recession, which started not long after the mall's opening, also didn't help things. Today, Marley Station Mall is in a state of decline, with most of its storefronts empty or shuttered. Excluding the anchors, only about 20 stores remain open, when there were 130 at one time. The fact that this mall is still open today is amazing to me. What's even more surprising is that there don't currently seem to be any plans to demolish or redevelop it. But I still can't see this place lasting longer than maybe another 2 years. Now owned by Namdar, a company notorious for acquiring struggling malls, Marley Station Mall is just another example of how these properties are often left to deteriorate. Namdar also owns Hamilton Mall and Concord Mall, which I've done videos on previously, and they tend to follow the same pattern. Minimal maintenance, no active leasing campaigns, no real effort to bring life back into these spaces. And of the three, this one is definitely the worst. The mall hasn't seen any significant renovations in a long time, and it really shows. Much of the design still has that 80s and 90s feel. The neon lights on the ceilings in particular jump out. They're a classic touch from that era, but some of the tubes are no longer functional, unfortunately, as you may notice throughout the video. The mall itself is very dimly lit, to the point that the video looks shaky at certain times. My camera's stabilizer is really made for well-lit settings. Despite its rocky start, Marley Station Mall did enjoy some success in the 90s. It added JCPenney and Sears as new anchors in 1994 and 1996 respectively. These stores made more sense for the area than Macy's or Hecht's. But then in 2000, Arundel Mills opened about a 15-minute drive away from Marley Station Mall, and that mall has taken many shoppers away from here. In 2004, Taubman Centers sold Marley Station Mall to the Mills Corporation, which also owned Arundel Mills. The Mills Corporation itself was acquired by Simon in 2007. In 2006, Hecht's closed after its parent company May Department Stores was acquired by Federated, the parent company of Macy's. Macy's then moved into the Hecht's building, while the original Macy's became Boscov's. But Boscov's didn't last very long, closing in 2008. We're entering the old Boscov's wing now, and from what I understand, it's been dead longer than the rest of the mall, which makes sense considering it's been without an anchor for the last 17 years. And as of my visit, this wing didn't have a single open business on the first floor, and there was just one on the second floor. This was honestly pretty eerie, although I did find some mall walkers on the second floor. By 2012, Marley Station Mall had an occupancy rate of just 56%, down from 67% a year earlier. Also in 2012, the Boscov's building was purchased by a company called iNet, which turned it into a data center. In 2013, the mall went into receivership when Simon got into a loan dispute with Bank of America. Woodmont Company would take over the mall's management until the dispute could be settled. iNet expressed interest in buying the rest of the mall to expand their data center, but Woodmont said it would keep the mall open and try to revitalize it instead. Later in 2013, the mall was listed for auction. It was acquired by TKL East, which then sold it to a company called LNR. In February 2014, the United Artists Theater, which had been at the mall since opening day in 1987, closed without notice. However, it was replaced by Horizon Cinemas a few months later. By 2015, Marley Station Mall was facing significant financial distress. Reports at the time warned investors of near-term rollover risk and advised them to expect losses of up to 70% on their investment. A year later in 2016, the situation had only worsened. The mall accounted for 29% of the remaining fund, and all classes of debt tied to the property were rated below investment grade or already in default. During this same period, the mall was reappraised at just $39.8 million, far below the original $114.4 million loan amount, leaving a staggering $88.7 million gap between the mall's value and what was owed. I wonder how old this sign is, because Claire's and Rue 21 are both gone. The mall went to auction yet again in September 2020. It was sold for $1.65 million plus at least $15 million of existing debt. However, this deal was halted in November 2020 by the Texas Bankruptcy Court. Also in November 2020, it was announced that Sears would be closing, which it did in January 2021. In June 2022, the mall was sold to its current owner, Namdar, who stated their intention to pursue an aggressive leasing strategy to increase the occupancy rate. Well, as you can see, that hasn't been the case at all. It's a familiar pattern for anyone who's followed Namdar's mall portfolio. Acquire struggling malls, cut costs, collect rent from whatever tenants remain, and let the property decline. Marley Station Mall has unfortunately become yet another example of that cycle. So what does the future hold for Marley Station Mall? Well, like I said, I really can't imagine it lasting more than a couple years. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm sure people said similar things a few years ago. But I really don't see how it can go on like this for much longer. Even of the stores left, there aren't many major chains. It's mostly just small local places. Not that there's anything wrong with mom and pop businesses. I love to see them. But when they're pretty much all you see in a mall, and all the major brands are jumping ship, that's never a good sign. Now, you see that Easter bunny down there? I don't think that's even a person in a costume. I think it's just a big doll. It's just sitting there, not moving at all. Now that's sad. This here used to be Payless, as you might be able to tell. And here you've got the old Sears, which as I said, closed in 2021. The sign is still up and you can still see inside. The building is still owned by Transform Co., the parent company of Sears. And it's listed as being for lease, although I doubt they'll find any takers anytime soon. Here's Macy's, which was originally Hex until 2006, when Macy's relocated here from its original location in the mall. I'm actually kind of surprised this Macy's survived the 2025 closures, although it could still very well close in 2026 or 2027. Who knows though, maybe this Macy's actually does well. I wouldn't know, I didn't go in there. And just because a mall is dead doesn't necessarily mean the anchors are. Now check this out. The arcade has 2 vending machines with a grand total of 1 item between them. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's been sitting in there for over a year and is expired. Now, Pandora is one of the last stores I would expect to find in this mall. I wonder what's keeping them open. Notice that the Sears sign is still lit up down here on the first floor, over 4 years after they closed. I can't believe Transform Co. is paying for that. So there you have it. That's Marley Station Mall in Glen Burnie, Maryland. It's really sad to see it in its current state, but that's just the reality of malls today. Some make it, while others fade away. And this one is definitely close to its end. What do you think? What will become of Marley Station Mall? What are your memories of this place if you've been here before? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because I'll be making more content like this in the near future. And as always, thanks for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.